All right. Well, welcome to Friday morning again. It's This is Eric Carson from the HBRA of Central Connecticut and Sheila Leach, Vice President of the HBRA. And today we have a special guest, Johnny Carrier. Johnny's past president of the association. Also sits on the state code council for anybody who's got code issues. Johnny is your guy, and Johnny on the spot to put in place. But actually, wanted to talk to Johnny today with Feel Good Friday and talk about what his family just did for a dance studio his family's involved in. So, Johnny, tell us what you guys did. It's a pretty neat story.
It is. It all started obviously like 3 months ago with everything that we got going on. And the dance studio approached me not only about, what are they going to do, but are they going to have a place to rent? And, the owners were pretty worried and scared that they were going to lose their entire class. And if anybody's ever had kids in dance, that last 2-3 months with the costumes and the recitals, that's where all the action happens. And that's where the businesses bring in the better part of their money that makes the thing worth it for the rest of the year. So they approached me, we talked through it. These owners have been with me for, I think, 13 years now. Actually, I've got a niece that goes there. So my brother Danny and his wife are very familiar with the area. We had custom designed this place, like I said, when they first moved in. So it's a really cool place. But anyways, so with the entire COVID thing going on and all that worriness, we basically had a pretty deep conversation about how, we're partners, we're in this together. You're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Let's try to figure this out. And it's one day at a time. So a few weeks went by. As the word Zoom was not very well known. But they were, right on top of it. They were ready to go. So the owner, being from Tennessee, the wife, she did not want to take no for an answer. So every time we came up with some ideas, she would throw them past me. I thought they were great. We talked to some higher authorities, health department, the town officials, etc. It was just too early to tell. Well, we at one point made a decision that we were going to do something. We weren't going to do it against the rules. We were going to make everything work, but we were going to, cross our T's, dot our I's, and we were going to get something going. So she came to me about 6 weeks ago, and they asked me about the construction going on the back half of the property where we're currently constructing another building. The new building, it's got a parking lot. There's some moving parts. There's construction. And she said, is there any way that we could do something with cars? We'll have a stage set up and we'll park the cars in kind of an arc shape and we'll keep the cars 6 feet away and we'll limit it and we'll do some stuff. So she drafted kind of a plan. And when we called the health department, they were less than pleased. So we had to go back to the drawing board. But as time went on, actually, we did make sure that we told parents that we were doing everything. And I say we, the dance studio mostly. I was working just behind the scenes to try to figure out what we could do. And so we came up with a couple other plans. And as the weeks went by, people got a little more used to it. There's some other talk about loosening some of the guidelines for how many people can get together, et cetera. So as we got closer, she had gotten a company, a local rental company, to do a stage, a 20 by 50 stage. Well, now we're starting getting into the heat. She calls me up or texts me at least 2-3 times a week. What do you think about this idea? And we met out there and we looked at different things. I ended up moving the stage about a week and a half before. I put it in a different area of the parking lot. And she was at first a little frazzled, but I said, this is awesome. Like, you're gonna enjoy this. I've got this area opening up. This is an active construction site. This is what we do. We plan, we know what's going on the next week. Well, for someone who practices in a dance studio that's set and knows exactly where they're going, this is a moving target. So great. It was a good experience going through. So I had some parking lot clearing in the middle of all this going on, maybe 3-4 weeks leading up to this. I hired a local member to rent the building. Well, they rented the entire building with the exception of one unit in about 2 weeks. And they were all supposed to be moving in on the same weekend of this recital. So that had something to do with it too. Nothing wrong with that. That's good for me, good for the member. So we then they got quotes to do a roof over the top of the students because the sun, as you see, you've seen how hot it's been the last week and a half. The kids are on this stage and they're surrounded by what I call a sea of asphalt. So it can only be hot. And so they asked or got quotes from somebody who shot them some random quotes of $30,000-$40,000 to put up this roof for one weekend. And she's like, what can you do? So I went to the drawing board, sat down with my father, Jake, which always has the best ideas. And we started putting some together. So we came up with this solution of a 50 by 24 roof so they could actually overhang past the stage. And we built it right off the building we were doing in the construction. I was able to do it because the siding wasn't on, so I was able to attach the entire structure so it's safe. And we had this all designed with lumber that we're using in our houses anyways. LVL, actually, this would be a great Weyerhaeuser commercial. I should sell my rights. So the LVL, the Paralams, or the truss joists, all the different stuff that we had since in Strong Tie, we brought all this together and we constructed this roof in about 2 days, about 3 guys, 2 days, okay, which came at a decent cost. And, all along they were saying, we're going to pick up the labor. We just want this to be perfect or whatever. At that point, I really wasn't worried about it. So we constructed this roof. I made it so that it was 10 feet clear because obviously you've got high school seniors jumping around doing flips and stuff. Last thing I want is them hitting a ceiling. Then I got this roof on. My father and I are sitting out there saying, man, it's going to be stuffy under there. So the next morning, we kind of rolled into my uncle's shop. We kind of borrowed 3 ceiling fans. And I called my electrician, who's another member, and he comes in, and I called him at 6:30. I said, it can never be good if I'm calling you this early. So I said, I need help putting in some fans. I need it right now, and I need it for free. I said, how can you pass that offer up? He obviously, we had taken him down and stuff. So we actually wired in ceiling fans, hooked it up with extension cords. Well, what was really cool about what we did, it wasn't just the roof, the ceiling fans and that. With the units being almost complete, and I had actually with all the stuff going on and the construction and having delays, I was going to be close to ready around June 1st. But I ended up signing all my leases starting July 1st and promised them I'd get them in early and they could get a week, 2 or 3 free. So what happened is these 2 end units ended up being changing rooms. So if you're facing the stage and you say exit stage left, the kids would exit stage left, actually enter the back of the unit, which is 1,000 square feet with a full bath, with a half bath, changing area, the whole 9. And then they had 2 of these units and they would enter stage right out the front of the unit and come back onto the stage. It was really, really cool. I don't know what else to say. The experience was, it's just nice because, we had parents coming up to us saying, this was our kid's senior year. They weren't going to have the recital. This is really the one they've been working up to. And, not a lot of kids are going and doing dance further than their high school years. Very few go on to do something at a, collegiate level, et cetera. So after we got this all started, the health department, we painted lines, set up a parking lot, had all the instructions, drew a map for the people coming in, like this is where you enter, this is where you park. They had gotten a lot of volunteers too, which was really cool. So I actually went a little bit in the beginning. I went towards the end, but it was just kind of a really cool kind of, construction backdrop. It just happened to have the weather mate on there with my logos. So, it's not like I didn't get anything out of it. In the end, I'll tell you, after seeing the kids and what they were doing, even for the first half hour and the parents and how happy everybody was, how happy they were, we actually, in my family, decided that we weren't going to charge them the labor either, that we were going to donate it to them. Why? Because at the end of the day, we're all my initial conversation, we're all in this together. We're partnered up, and the labor, yes, it's thousands of dollars, but it sums up to being a month and a half of rent. If they're not there next month, I've got nobody. So this is just community coming together. This is business owners. This is parents, all of it just coming together to kind of do something. And just so happens my capability is building houses, and I've got the manpower to do that. So that was what we pitched in. It was pretty cool. The first night, I will say that when it was over around 8:15, they decided to have a dance party on that stage because it was just 20 by 50. So the neighbors, because we have residential neighbors on the south side and on the west side, the north side and the east side. And I'm looking, and they came in and were like, "What's going on? What's the noise? When's it going to be over?" And then they hung out. So it was a really cool experience. I honestly, I couldn't even go near the owners for that entire weekend without them crying, which, obviously shows how much they meant, but they they had a great time. The kids, the parents were crazy. And I won't say that we didn't do this against the moms, because obviously with everything going on, there's some people that take this a little bit more to heart than others. And, you can't take away from anybody if they're worried or scared, but we took the proper precautions. The people had to bring their own lawn chairs. We did like stadium seating in the parking lot. We painted it 6 feet lines. I mean, all of it. But people were coming in full dress. I mean, full suits, full dress, the whole nine, just like they would. And the owner is telling me this the next day, like she's talking to some of the parents, some of the invitees that came, and they said, why are you all dressed up? Well, we haven't been able to dress up in 3 months. You don't know how happy we are to put something. So here we are in a sea of asphalt with really nice shoes and a whole nice setup and the flowers and the whole shebang. So it turned out awesome. Actually, the news ended up showing up at the end a little bit to kind of film it. The kids dropped off a great, gift basket with all sorts of, little things and flowers. And, oh, by the way, we put American flags off the 2 corners. So they gave my mom a nice bouquet of roses with red, white, and blue, which makes it all worth it, the boss. No, it was fun. All in all, I'll tell you what I take away from it, other than the memories, is I made sure all the students and the teachers and the owner, they signed one of the posts that we had done with magic marker on the LVLs. So I had my guys cut out that section of 18-inch LVL, and that's what's going to get mounted on the wall, which is really cool. So fun stuff.
Johnny, your family is so very, very giving. You guys give back to the community, hand over fist. And when I just happened to be on the phone with you and you shared this wonderful, wonderful opportunity to give back to the community, and you guys always step up, we had to get you on to share this wonderful story. So we appreciate everything you do. You and your family are role models of what it means to give back. And we thank you for that. And we love this story. So thank you for stepping up yet again.
You're very welcome. And I'll just say that, we've been in situations where we've needed help in the past, my family in the past. So when you get that, or you have that family structure that we do, and you get to a situation where you're able to give back, there's nothing more rewarding than that. If I was in their situation, looking at a mountain of a situation, and looking at things, what's my business going to look like last year? Now, you remember, this is someone that's done business for 30 years, and now they're looking at whether they're going to have one next year.
Right.
That's crazy. And that's husband and wife working together day in and day out, which anybody who works with a spouse can appreciate. That's tough business, and building something, from the ground up. So it's just a small part of it. And hopefully what comes out of this is the kids have memories that no one else will have, because I will tell you, from anybody else I've spoken to, there's been very little, if any, recitals in the area. They've been, some videos have gotten done, which is great. That places,
yeah, it's been very difficult.
So
it is. No, it's amazing you were able to salvage that special moment for the kids and parents and everything. I know, and my daughter's the same way. Everything was canceled this spring, and especially senior in high school, that whole end of year, end of your high school career is taken away, and it was great. to do that. So, as Sheila said, you guys are an amazing family that always continuously and is very unselfishly giving back to the community and being part of it. So, no, congratulations again. But I have the question that everybody's asking or wants to know, Johnny, is did you get up on the dance?
I did not dance.
Not even at the dance party?
No, not even at the dance party.
So, well, they'll have to get you up on that stage and show off your. So I know you got some in your back pocket there. So
I mean, as long as I have a beer or maybe two, I will get up and dance. I'm not going to promise it's going to be pretty. I'll do it.
Well, Johnny, thank you again. We truly appreciate it.
You're very welcome, guys. And I'll just say that this is, this is bigger than just me. This is the home builders, and there are other members that do this and don't ask for thanks. We're doing this because it's the right thing and we want to do it, not because we're looking for recognition or anything like that. So, just the fact that we're talking about it in this forum, is probably more than I wanted to do to begin with, but it is what it is. It's a good story.
It's a great story.
And we have a lot of members that, as you said, give back to the community, give back to others. And it's, we just want to, again, during this time, just highlight those great things that members are doing. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, and tune in next week for the next edition of the Feel Good Friday. And again, if anybody has any stories they'd like to talk about, just let us know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.